Let's pivot over to the Big Island, Pohakuloa. You know, last year there was a circuit court ruling on PTA in the training area in regards to the 20,000 or so acres that are owned by the state of Hawaii that is leased to the U.S. Army since 1964. Of course, you know that lease is coming up in 2029. I had a chance, I was at Pohakuloa yesterday and watched live fire exercises, and I was surprised to find out from the base commander there that they don't ever go into the area that experiences the live fire. I guess where the munitions end up. Even post-exercise, they don't go in there because of potentially unexploded ordnance. I don't know if those lands are part of the state's inventory.
No, they're federal. They're federal lands.
Federal lands. So, regardless of that, how are we dealing with the circuit court's ruling? I have Governor Ige's statement here in regards to DLNR's custodial management and care of the leased land to the U.S. Army, the 20,000 acres we have.
Yep. And again, the court case was the finding at the circuit court level was that we violated the public trust by not requiring sufficient cleanup. We didn't agree with that, and that's on appeal. There was no finding that the lease itself was breached. It wasn't even alleged. The court ruling required us to come up with a plan to do regular monitoring and ensure cleanup. So our land division did work on a plan. We took it to the land board in the fall and then took it to the court in December, and I believe the court recently approved the plan. So now we have this monitoring plan in place.
Okay, the written stewardship plan.
Yep.
That's set. Okay.
Yep.
All right. How are negotiations going with the U.S. Army for the lease?
So they're really in the beginning of the stage of their process.
Stages. The lease portion is the cantonment area, the base area, or I've seen a map. It's a hodgepodge.
Yeah,
of
it is a bit of a
jurisdictions.
hodgepodge. Yeah, and it's a bit of a hodgepodge. But you are right that they don't fire into the state lease land. Yeah. They do, to the extent that they do live fire, they do it from. Yeah.
Okay. For Mauna Kea, you know, we had I guess it was a TMT update hearing at the beginning of the session that you know, we were able to get somewhat of an update, although the applicants didn't attend. Where are we now since that hearing in terms of DLNR's final sign-off for 30-meter and their soon-to-be construction of the telescope?
So that's in process. That's a process for the, I guess it's TMT, to submit their plans to the Office of Conservation on Coastal Lands and for review. And they have to review them for whatever consistency with the Conservation District processes, but also for the consistency with the conditions set forth in the permit.
So they have not submitted their construction plans to your division?
So I believe that they have submitted some preliminary plans that are, for at least for one phase, that are under review.
With what you have now submitted from them, would you be able to issue a notice to proceed?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything.
Can you follow up with that and let us know?
Sure.
If they have to submit more, or if they've already submitted what's enough, or...
Yeah.
Okay. You know, one of the questions I have was, as we have thoroughly discussed the master lease for Mauna Kea, and we talked about revenue and the land division's ability to generate revenue off of revocable permits or long-term leases or whatever's out there. We have a model where we lease a portion of state lands, Sand Island, where we have a master lease at Sand Island, and the master recipient of that lease then subleases that they're doing to various different tenants. Generates a certain amount of revenue for the land division, and ultimately it helps fund other departments and divisions that are underfunded. Have you, or what are your thoughts on looking at a similar concept for Mauna Kea, where the state of Hawaii issues a master lease for the summit of Mauna Kea with a certain allocated fixed rent, and then it's up to the lessor or the lessee, which would be the University of Hawaii, to then sublease portions of Mauna Kea to various telescope entities to meet the master lease values to fund the land division. Rather than subleasing it or master leasing it for $1, we could master lease it for $5 million, $10 million.
I think that'll be a really important point in the next review of the lease. I mean, right now there's a lease in place. It's basically that structure, but you're right in terms of, I mean, it's set up basically as a nonprofit lease. It's set up to facilitate astronomy on the mountain. The question of actual rent from the master lease is an open question, and I think deserves review. And I know OHA has concern about it because they want to ensure that value to the state is recognized for OHA as well. So it's a open discussion issue.
Right, because if you look at 30 meters sublease, there's significant monetary value tied to that sublease, of which the land Mauna Kea management gets resources, Office of Foreign Affairs gets resources. But if we were to, before we even got there, in the university's potential issuance of a new long-term master lease for the summit of Mauna Kea, and if there was a determined amount that Russell Tsuji and the land division is able to determine, then it's up to the university to go and sit down with individual telescope operators and say, hey, this is going to be your portion and your portion and your portion. And we're not giving away our assets, our land assets for nothing.
Right.
Okay. That's something...
It's on the radar,
I mean, because it potentially will come up on the next 4 years of your... if you're
it is. Growing. And the sublessees are paying rent, but it's going to manage the operations on the mountain. The Conservation District use permit for the 30-meter telescope has significant requirements for basically community support, but the basic rent to DLNR, you're right, is not there. The university is doing good stewardship of the mountain, of the part that we would be required to manage for natural and cultural resources. They have rangers. They have 9 I guess now. Rangers, we don't have any, and they're up there. They can keep an eye on it. They can, report to us if there's any issues. So they do a great value to DLNR. But in terms of rent paid to DLNR or the state, you're right. It's something we should look at.
Yeah, because you could use it for your NARS that you have up there. You could use it for the hunting areas, the forestry areas. I mean, there's DoCare. I mean, there's other agencies that would benefit from that. And then the university could factor in whatever it costs them to run and execute their comprehensive management plan, right? Which is, I think, several $1 million if they were to run it the way they wanted to run it.
Yeah.